Well, I'm delighted to be joined by Peterborough United manager Darren Ferguson. Darren, first and foremost, as a manager, you just want a bit of clarity, don't you?
Well, that's the thing that's missing at the moment. The most frustrating thing is the fact that we've no real clarity on many things. Last week or the week before last, I think we got a draft document, saying that the testing would be covered by the Football League. Then we had the owners' meeting, then the managers' meeting, which not much came out of, I'm going to be honest. And then obviously the document last week to say that their suggestion would be to curtail the league and do it on a points per game. There's been a week since then and still nothing. There's another board meeting tomorrow, the normal weekly one they have with the Football League. I'm hearing that the vote's not going to be till next Monday, so that's another week gone by. We're looking at now, we're into June and still no one knows. So yeah, it's frustrating. The players that I'm sure people have thought about them, but I don't know in what great detail are the ones that really I feel for, because they're constantly in touch with me saying what's happening. I'm giving them as much as I can, but there's not much I can give them. As you know, I told them last week that it's going to go to a vote, and the lads are like, "What, are we all out?" They're not too keen in doing a group Zoom meeting with me, which I can get, which would be a bit odd. But we're in constant contact, and it's just a matter of very, very frustrated, because we don't know when we go back to training, because obviously the players would need to be tested, even though there are some clubs out there that are not doing that. They're just getting players back testing, which is totally irresponsible if that's the case. So we can't even get them back to training in groups of 5. So it's very frustrating at the moment, Phil. Yeah. So in terms of knowing if we can go back to training, if our season is still on, and then probably the most important bit is when next season starts and when we can go back to training. So it is what it is, and what can I say? It's just becoming more and more frustrating.
Yeah, and obviously as a manager, you want to finish the season and obviously finish what you started, or at least have a more fair procedure in terms of finishing the season. Because at the moment, you know, it's in limbo, isn't it? How can you plan for next season when you don't know what league you're going to be in, and you know how this season's going to finish?
Well, you can't plan for anything at the moment. In terms of next season, you can't. What I've been doing is preparing for the remainder of this season, if possible. Doing all the presentations I would need to do in terms of the opposition we've got left, checking for recruitment, things like that, trying to keep busy. But yeah, I've maintained all along, I think when it's safe to go back, we should continue, but only obviously when it's safe. But there seems this almighty rush that we've got to get back. I mean, it looks like the numbers are going down. Obviously, the Prime Minister's opened up things in a couple of weeks a little bit more. But there's so many different ways of looking at this, Phil. And you know, there's some clubs saying we want the season over, we can't afford it. There's some obviously saying we want to continue because we've got a chance of going in the Championship. There's some saying, well, we don't want to continue because we might get relegated. That's what the meeting was all about. It was more about, I wanted to listen to what people were saying rather than voice my own opinion, because it would have got nowhere, because every question was, I don't know. But yeah, clearly everyone wants to get back up and running. The players are ready. We just have to wait and see what happens. If it's not, I don't get the feeling the season's going to be fully finished, if you know what I mean. I don't think we're going to complete our 9 games. I think it's going to go to some sort of a playoff. And if they go points per game, well, obviously my opinion would be wouldn't be the right way of doing it, but it looks like that's the case.
Yeah, you're obviously in constant contact with the co-owners in terms of plans and their feelings, and you've got to feel for them as well, given the fact that, you know, a lot has been put in across the club this season.
Yeah, I have sympathy with everyone, with the owners, obviously, because they've had a right go. And we sat down at the start of last season, or the end of last season, start of this season. And our ambition was to finish in the automatic promotion places. And with 9 games to go, that hadn't changed. I was confident we would do that. Very confident we'd do that. With the games we had left, with the players we had, everyone fit, more or less. With a couple of injuries, to be fair, Taylor would have been injured, Thompson would have been injured, and Smorich, but only for Smorich and Thompson very briefly. I was confident the ones that would replace him would come in the run of games we had. I was confident we'd get in that top 2. You never know, but that's just how I felt. I feel for the fans, because for the first time in a long while, going into March, they've had a real positivity about actually getting a promotion, and they were with us. I could feel that. We got through the sticky period we had Christmas time, and we came back and we'd beaten, not just we'd went and won 6 in the bounce, 7 out of 9, but a lot of those games were teams around us, you know, and we'd won comfortably. There was no question that we'd won very comfortably in the games at Oxford, Wycombe, Portsmouth. Even though it was only 2-0, it was a comfortable victory. So I feel for the fans, because I felt that there really was a momentum building. And I feel for everyone at the club, you know, the players, my staff, you guys, because it's a collective thing. And it just, but you have to say, Phil, that there's 37,000 people have died. And that has to be first and foremost the most important thing. And our safety is the most important thing. There's no question about that. Football does come second in these situations. It's unforeseen. It's something no one could ever imagine going through, but we are going through it. And the fact that no one could ever have imagined it or seen it coming is why there's so many doubts still about what's going on in general life, but also in our football. But I think the most important thing has to be that. Of course, we want to get back because we feel there's a chance, but our health has to come first.
Yeah. In terms of, you mentioned recruitment for next season and how hard it is not knowing where you're going to be. I guess there's going to be a lot of players out of contract in a certain period of time. There's going to be players that you have, you know, out on loan, other clubs that are going to be coming back to you. Until you know how many people are going to be involved in your squad, you can't really make too many decisions, I guess.
No, we can't. We have to keep looking at targets, and obviously we still don't know when the window's open. But we can continue trying to do what we can and looking at players and analysing players, and me and Strax in particular have been going through it quite a lot. Obviously, it looks at the moment like there's a plan A and plan B. Plan A, obviously, if we went up, it's looking more like a plan B at the moment. And we continue working on that. In terms of where we are as a squad, I feel that everyone's aware. It's public knowledge. If we don't, for whatever reason, don't get the chance to get promoted, then Ivan will be sold. And when Ivan's sold, that'll give us a chance to recruit. But the fact is, if we get the right money for Ivan, then the other 90% of this, 95, whatever you want to call it, will remain intact, and it'll only be the ones that leave that I want to leave. So I think we'll be in a lot stronger position than many clubs going into next season. And that's something I remain positive about, due to the fact that we've got such an asset in Ivan now. Obviously, the numbers and everything, the financial situation, whether that's changed dramatically, we'll wait and find out. But obviously, we have to sell Ivan now. If we don't go up, and it's a case of the season being finished for us.
And I guess that's where the club's success in recruitment really does come in, because every time you have an asset that you build, like Ivan, I mean, obviously when he came in, he'd had a number of different clubs, and you've helped develop him to get him to this point, and it's about doing the same again now, as you've done historically since you've been at the club.
Yeah, it's about finding someone it's going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult. It's going to be finding someone with that sort of ability to have the physicality and lead the line and score goals. So we have got targets, as you would expect. So I'm fairly positive. If the season ends up the worst case scenario, I'm still positive looking into next season. My only doubt is when next season will start. You know, remains there in my thoughts, that if they do say, look, we're not starting next season until we get a vaccine, and it won't be until January, then football is going to be in a real problem. It really, really is going to be a real problem to where we start from again. You've almost got a point where I think every club will just say, well, everyone's free. Because how can you afford to, well, you can't afford to continue the salaries. But going back to the recruitment thing, I feel positive, very positive, that if we got the right one in, and there might be two, and then be creative and perhaps look at trying to get maybe Brownie back on loan if we don't go up, and maybe even Sammy. You know, these are conversations I'll be having as soon as I know when the league's on or not. Then I'm confident we'll have a very good squad and a very good chance of actually getting promoted.
Yeah, and you can see why there's a lot of talk about, you know, money filtering down through the EFL, because without that help, there's 71 clubs in the EFL, and if, as you say, if the season for some reason doesn't start until January, February next year, clubs are really going to struggle to survive, and that's where the help is needed now, rather than talking about it. It's if there is money awash at the higher level, they can help so quickly.
Yeah, I honestly feel, my opinion on this is, I think everyone's just burying their head in the sand here. I think no one's brave enough to. Well, the chairman of Parliament, he's been very vocal, but it's more about this season, which is quite right. He's made some very good points. He's gone through the finances of it, which the Football League haven't done. We had a chat on Sunday, the chairman and I. We went through the finances of the actual cost. It's nothing like what people are imagining. It may well be. So I think, but the biggest thing for me is, even if the playoffs start in, I don't know, July, and finish in the middle of July, what then? What are we doing? I mean, are we saying there's going to be another vote to say, look, we're going to start the league, but by the way, there's still not going to be any crowds because the Football League's waiting until the vaccine comes? And then what? Then all of a sudden clubs are going to say, oh, we're fine with that. But they're not, because clearly they're making a decision based on they haven't got the money. So there is a real concern with a lot of people that we're not going to get this up and running until next year. And if that's the case, then, in terms of how football clubs are run or how it's possible to run them, I just don't know the answer to that one. My optimistic mind tells me that I think we'll be back in September, and hopefully there'll be some sort of way of getting some crowds in there. But I suppose it'll all depend on the science and the numbers continually going down, Phil, but it is very frustrating to try and build and plan, but we just have to do the best we can, really.
It's a strange thing to say, but do you miss the players? I mean, you've obviously not seen them since March, and when you have such a rapport, I mean, obviously in a normal season you get the opportunity to go on holiday and forget about football for a couple of months, but there isn't a way of doing that this year because, as you say, the unpredictable nature of it, you don't know when it's going to come back.
I never thought I'd miss them as much. I've missed them so much. They're a good bunch of lads. I miss my staff. I miss the banter. There's been the odd occasion when I've maybe put a message in the group app, and then there's been a bit of banter flying around for about an hour. It's been good. I've missed it. I think we all have, and we all got on very well. So yeah, I've missed them. I've missed the work, but at the end of the day, there's unforeseen circumstances we just have to abide by, really. But no, there's no question I've missed them. We all got on very well together. We're all very respectful. But I think the most important thing at this part of the season, we were all very confident, not overconfident, but we had a real, especially after that Portsmouth game, a real momentum going for us. There was no question. So I think all the lads feel that way.
And just finally, you've been doing any Zoom quizzes, Gaffer? You've been touching up on your intelligence over this period of time, or?
Yes. So I've done quite a few with the family. I've done a few with Scarfy. He was a very good Scarfy, good intelligent bloke, actually. He absolutely hammered me. I got a huge quiz thing out of this cupboard, and brilliant quizzes, brilliant quiz, brilliant questions. Couldn't find the answers. An absolute beast. So anyway, no, it's the same as everyone else, Phil. We're trying to fill the time as best we can. The kids are off school this week, which makes it a little bit easier because the homeschooling was getting tough. But no, we're just waiting, mate, and it's, whatever it is, we'll have to deal with it and move on quickly. I'm confident. I'm fortunate, really, that I've got the owners we have, because, speaking to them this last week, speaking to Darren, they'll come back. We'll come back from this. It's just a matter of riding out the next few months and seeing what happens. But obviously, this week's pivotal. It's not looking good for us. We have to admit that it looks like it might be up for us this season. Hopefully not. Dara's doing all he can to try and get as many clubs on his side as possible, but I think it's going to be difficult. But I think the biggest thing is we get closure on perhaps this season and hopefully get a bit of luck, and then find out what's going on next season, and at least we can plan and start again.